What do we have here? Man, I really love this one. This is a fairly new Kansept model. I picked this up at Blade Show in Texas and really, really love it. Great action. This is the Kansept Deadite, and it is a Tough Knives collaboration.
All right, stop, collaborate and listen. I sit back with my brand new inventions.
And Tough Knives makes such cool stuff like this and this one. So you've seen them before. Tough Knives makes some badass stuff, and it's so cool that they deigned to drop down into this, world of the Kansept, the lower end nice knives, to collaborate with this Chinese company and make some really cool knives. There's different versions of this. I'll put up a couple different versions of the Deadite. Very cool knife. I picked the one with the Damascus, so check that out. It's their common Damascus they use on the Kansept knives. And this one has some pretty cool, just black and white fat carbon going on there. And I really love it. It's great action. One little issue I have is the flipper tab is a little slippery where I like to grab it. Now, it has some jimping, but man, it's not really much of a jimping. Look at that. It's like just like little waves in it, kind of. And it works good for this push button type of opening, but I like to kind of light switch it down from here, and it's a little slippery around that top edge. But as long as you kind of commit to it, it's fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. The lockup is perfect. The no lock rock, no nothing. Now, one other little issue I've had with it so far is, as I use it, the pivot keeps coming loose. Like once a day, I'll have to tighten it at least if I'm carrying it. So that's kind of a thing, It could be better. You could make a pivot better. Now, I also think it's a non-captive pivot. I haven't taken it apart yet, but I think it's a non-captive pivot. So I haven't had an issue with tightening it. It just tightens from one side. But I think it could potentially have an issue of needing to hold it from both sides to mess with it, which is a pain in the ass. So come on, Kansept. When you're making a $200 knife, let's do a little better than a non-captive pivot. Put a captive pivot in there. Now, I really like the way this thing looks as it is. Now, it had one more little issue that I noticed. The carbon fiber inlay sticks up just a hair past the edge of the frame, which, it's not a huge deal, but I kind of wanted to knock that down to the right place. So I think I'm going to do that. And then I think I might also hit it with the polisher too and polish the frame just a little bit and then put it back together. I want to see how that looks. So let's do that real quick. Take it apart and, well, maybe I'll not take it apart. I think I might knock down the edges of the inlay first to get it to match up with the handle, because it just sticks up just a tiny bit. Not so much there. Oh shit, does it not really stick up? Maybe it doesn't really stick up. I mean, it does, just a hair past the frame. You can see the inlay on this far side, just a bit. So we're going to do that, and then we'll check it out. All right, so I don't know if you can tell, but I just took the machine, my little sander, my 1x30 sander, with a 800 grit belt, so kind of like a belt you'd use to sharpen a knife, actually, and just ran it across this edge, almost parallel with this side, but with a little bit of bias this way, kind of, so that it didn't quite get up onto the titanium, although it did in a couple places. No big deal, because we're going to polish this whole thing somewhat. So I'm going to go ahead and take it apart now and then do the polishing on the frame of it. Let's see, what do we got? We'll find out for sure whether this is a captive pivot or not. Let's see, is it when I tried it? Yeah, I can't tell. The other side is not moving when I try to undo it. Oh, this is the barrel actually coming out. So yeah, it's a non-captive pivot. I just undid the barrel out of it. So now the other side will just fall out. And the rest of the frame screws are, sadly, T6s. Not a huge deal, but it would be nicer if they would just go to all T8s. Now, one reason you might want to stay at T6s, especially if you're doing something with scales, pretty scales, is so it minimizes the size of the screws. So I guess that is a thing. So let's get this guy. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah, no big deal. Something just fell out on the floor. I think it is the bearing or the washer bearing. There we go. So the bearing is right there. Now let's see what we got here. This is the entire side of the show side of the knife. That's interesting. Boy, that hole's kind of ratted out a little bit right there. I wonder why that would be. It looks like they just took off the edges of it after it was threaded, and they did it just kind of roughly. I don't know. But other than that, looks pretty clean, looks pretty nice. Let's look at this blade. Okay, so when they etched it, so you have to etch this Damascus to make it show, right? And so when they did that, they protected the bearing area with a big piece of tape or something. I don't know what they used. But you can see that it's not etched there, although you can still see a little bit, kind of a shadow of the Damascus pattern, even where they protected it from the etch. So that's pretty cool. Very nice looking blade, love that. Okay, there's our nice steel washer that goes in and is sort of the track for the bearings. And then we have a nice pivot collar that I think is titanium. Let's see. Oh no, I think it's steel. Okay, so this is like a black coated steel. All right, so I won't go messing with that thinking I'm going to be able to color it, which I didn't want to anyway. I want to keep this sort of a black and white type of a deal. So I'm going to maybe, I'm going to take the, oh, okay, I got to take these screws out to get the standoffs out. Now you don't see these standoffs, of course, because they are underneath, whoa, shit, I dropped one. They're underneath the backspacer usually. So you don't see them. That's why they're not kind of decorative. You know, a lot of standoffs will have sort of a decorativeness to them, like those guys. See how pretty those guys are, those standoffs in there? Those are very nice looking, but there's no backspacer covering them. So in this one, this backspacer covers them, so there's no reason to make them pretty, really. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Whoop, dang screws just keep flying everywhere. Okay, so now we take off the pocket clip, and maybe we'll polish that too, and the backspacer. Maybe polish everything, I don't know. But we got to get, ooh, got a lot of Loctite on the one for the, well, that's interesting. The pocket clip moves. Oh, okay. So the pocket clip, well, that's interesting. They got a lot of Loctite shit and glue type shit all over the place here. Like they're worried about this thing moving around. It's got one little pin, and then it's got the screw hole. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, all right, so this should come off now. Oh, one more screw holding the little scale insert, whatever the hell you want to call it, on there. Okay, so this thing, oh no, one more thing, the steel insert. So this steel insert is what the lock bar presses against the blade to lock it. And it should come out fairly easy. They usually do. Some of them can get real tight, but Kansept usually doesn't make theirs super tight. So there we go. So now we have a clean piece with no steel on it, and we're going to just run the polisher over it a little bit and see what it looks like after that, and see if that is a good idea to do. All right, we got her all back together pretty much, but the last step I just wanted to show is if I have an issue with a pivot coming loose all the time, I go ahead and get a fresh paper towel without a bunch of grease on it, and then I pour a little bit of alcohol on it. And this is how I, some people use Loctite, and that's fine, nothing wrong with Loctite, especially if you use, you know, you want to use blue Loctite so that you don't lock it forever. But I've found that super glue works just fine. And I didn't invent this idea. This is, I think, Metal Complex or Neves was doing that also. So it wasn't, not like I came up with the idea. I'm sure millions of people have used super glue instead of Loctite for various things. Now, super glue is probably initially and quickly stronger, or more quickly stronger than Loctite. I think Loctite probably would last longer. I think super glue tends to give out after a while. You know, Loctite is probably a little stronger long term, but super glue is good enough, and it locks it down quick, so you have to wait 24 hours before you can mess around with your damn knife, you know? And I want to mess with it now. I don't want to wait 24 hours, okay? Make sure your glue is actually, uh-oh, shit. There's no glue coming out. Is there? No, there's not. So what I'm going to do is try to cut the end off of this glue and see if it's just dried in there. Now you don't want to use your nice knife to cut off the end of the super glue, because sometimes the super glue comes out and gets on the blade, and then it's hard to get off. So I'm going to use this random kitchen knife that we have laying around in here that we practice sharpening on, and that did it. So we just need a drop now, and I put just a little tiny bit near the top of the threads. That was probably too much, so that it will come down and get on the rest of the threads and not lock up until it's pretty much all the way in there. I don't think I put enough on, because if I don't have it down on the threads enough, it actually won't get into the threads, because the very top threads don't go all the way into the pivot threads. They kind of stop before they get down that far. So I'm hoping that's enough now to get it just a little bit of super glue down in there to get it locked in. And I'm going to go ahead and use this guy by hand, and if I have to, I'll have to grab another one to lock it in from both sides, because remember, this is a non-captive pivot. Oh, that's nice. Got a little bit of a grit sound in there. I must have left a little bit of sand in there or something when I was putting it back together. Well, it's going now, I think. Okay. Seems like it's being good. Did I tighten that all the way? I think I did. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So if you can see, I polished I guess you'd call this the frame, right? And then the frame goes all the way down here next to that backspacer. And then this is the insert. And then the backspacer, I left it that kind of blasted look, and I left the pocket clip that blasted look just for a little contrast. Thought it might look cool contrasting with the polished look on the rest of it. Not a great polish job. I didn't do it super good. I just did it quick. Just threw it on the polisher, got some polish on it, called it a day. And I might come back and do something else, have it vapor honed. Who in the hell knows what I'll do. But I just thought it would be kind of cool to make it look a little different and have just a little interest to it. Oh, this is one of the polishers, so let's get that guy put away. Okay, all right, now let's finish up the review on this guy. Thumb studs, they are great. The thumb studs work perfectly. No problems with them whatsoever. Is my super glue staying, or is it coming loose? Because this thing would come loose pretty quick. It was like one of the loosiest, goosiest pivots that I've messed with, because it came loose quick. I'm not sure why this particular design didn't want to stay locked up, but it did not. So let's see. Yeah, it's staying tight. Very good. It seemed like after only 10 or 20 openings and closings, it would just be a little bit loose. Oof, that is nice. Great action. Stayed nice and centered. Let's see. Yeah, I would say the action is at least as good as it was. Now it's actually a little better because it kept coming loose before, and so that was kind of a pain. Yeah, really nice. Thumb studs are great. The choil is cut in enough so that you can still sharpen this thing, no problem. The ergos are really terrific. Pocket clip works great. No problems whatsoever. Fairly tall, flat grind down to a decently fine edge. Now this, the grind, the final grind, is it what they call it, the primary bevel? Secondary bevel. Secondary bevel, not the best grind I've ever seen. Not the most consistent. I almost wonder, now I got this one on a pretty damn good deal at Blade Show, selling it fairly cheap. Now I wonder if these were almost like factory seconds a little bit because of the way the insert hung out over the handle. A couple of little issues on it I noticed made me wonder if maybe they brought kind of some factory seconds to sell at Texas Blade Show cheaper than normal, because I think this guy was only, I don't want to say how much, it was pretty cheap. And I appreciate that a lot. I don't mind the little teeny tiny issues there are with it. Now I hope that everyone's pivot isn't coming as loose as mine, as easy as mine came loose. If they are, you can super glue it, you can Loctite it, you can do stuff like that with it, so not a big deal. To me, the main thing about this knife is the really cool look of it. It just has a just badass look, and I guess that's that whole Tough Knives background in it. It just looks so cool. It has such a cool look. This this swedge that comes along here. Kind of comes down almost like a Bowie knife type deal. I guess it's a clip point, but you could almost say it's like a Bowie. It's almost has a Tonto-ish blade. It kind of comes to almost like a little point right here, then curves up. Yep, staying. The pivot is staying where it should be now, which is really nice. Yeah, I am really liking the Deadite. Really cool knife. Great job, Kansept. Great job. Tough knives also. Everyone involved, whoever was involved with this thing, you did a great job. And now I think it looks a little cooler with the polish going. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure what I'll do, you know, down the line, maybe something else with it. But for now, we're going with this polish look. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how the polish holds up too. Have a nice day.